हरे 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 राम
Hare
राम राम
Krishna, Nandkumar
हरे
Prabhuji,
कृष्ण
Dear
कृष्ण
Pranam,
कृष्ण हरे हरे
Hare
राम
Krishna, dear
हरे
devotees,
राम
Jai Shri
राम
Prabhupada. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So today is our official day of Shri Jagannath Rath Yatra in Cincinnati, our third Jagannath Rath Yatra, and we are singing this nice Jagannath Ashtakam prayer by Sripada Adi Shankaracharya. So we'll sing this and then we'll read the translation and we'll continue Prabhupada Lilamrit. Okay. Anybody else would like to try today? Singing? Okay, then I'll continue. कदाचित् कालिन्दी तटविपिनसङ्गीतकरवो मुदाभीरीनारी वदनकमलास्वादमधुपः रमाशम्भो ब्रह्मा मरपतिगणेशार्चितपदो जगन्नाथः स्वामी नयनपथगामी भवतु मे भुजे सव्ये वेणुं शिरसि शिखिपिच्छं कटितटे दुकूलं नेत्रान्ते सहचरकटाक्षं विदधते सदा श्रीमद्वृन्दावनवसति लीलापरिचयो जगन्नाथः स्वामी नयनपथगामी भवतु मे महाम्भोधेस्तीरे कनकरुचिरे नीलशिखरे वसन्प्रासादान्तः सहजबलभद्रेण बलिना सुभद्रा मध्यस्थः सकलसुरसेवावसरदो जगन्नाथः स्वामी नयनपथगामी भवतु मे कृपापारावारः सजलजलद श्रेणिरुचिरो रमावाणी रामः स्फुरदमलपङ्केरुहमुखः सुरेन्द्रैराराध्यः श्रुतिगणशिखगीतचरितो जगन्नाथः स्वामी नयनपथगामी भवतु मे रथारूढो गच्छन् पथिमिलितभूदेवपटलैः सुतीव्रादुर्भावं प्रतिपदमुपाकर्ण्य सदयः दयासिन्धुर्बन्धुः सकलजगतां सिन्धुसुतया जगन्नाथः स्वामी नयनपथगामी भवतु मे पराब्रह्मापीडः कुवलयदलोत्फुल्लनयनो निवासी नीलाद्रौ निहितचरणोऽनन्तशिरसि रसानन्दो राधा सरसवपुरालिङ्गनसुखो जगन्नाथः स्वामी नयनपथगामी भवतु मे न वै याचे राज्यं न च कनकमाणिक्यविभवम् न याचेऽहं रम्यां सकलजनकाम्यां वरवधूं सदा काले काले प्रमथपतिना गीतचरितो जगन्नाथः स्वामी नयनपथगामी भवतु मे हर त्वं संसारं द्रुततरमसारं सुरपते हर त्वं पापानां वितटिमिपरा अपरां यादवपते अहो दीने नाथे निहितचरणो निश्चितमिदम् जगन्नाथः स्वामी नयनपथगामी भवतु मे जगन्नाथाष्टकं पुण्यं यः पठेत् प्रयतः शुचिः सर्वपापविशुद्धात्मा विष्णुलोकं स गच्छति हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा श्री जगन्नाथाष्टकम की जय श्री पदादि शंकराचार्य की जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ओके एनीबॉडी वुड लाइक टू रीड द ट्रांसलेशन
I'll read Prabhuji.
Ishwari Mataji. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Sometimes in great happiness, Lord Jagannath makes a loud concert.
with his flute in the groves on the banks of the Yamuna. He is like a bumblebee tasting the beautiful lotus-like faces of the cowherd damsels of Rath, and great personalities such as Lakshmi, Shiva, Brahma, Indra, and Ganesh worship his lotus feet. May that Jagannath Swami be the object of. In his left hand, Lord Jagannath holds a flute. On his head he wears peacock feathers, and on his hips he wears fine yellow silken cloth. From the corners of his eyes he bestows sidelong glances upon his loved devotees, and he always reveals himself through his countenance in his divine abode of Yatra. May that Jagannath Swami be the object of his. On the shore of the great ocean, within a large palace atop the brilliant golden Nilachala hill, Lord Jagannath resides with his powerful brother Balabhadra and his sister Subhadra, who sits between them. May that Jagannath Swami, who bestows the opportunity for devotional service upon all godly souls, be the object of devotion. Lord Jagannath is an ocean of mercy, and as beautiful as a row of blackish rain clouds. He is the storehouse of bliss for Lakshmi and Saraswati, and his face resembles a spotless full-blown lotus. The best of demigods and sages worship him, and the Upanishads sing his glory. May that Jagannath Swami be the object of my vision. When Lord Jagannath moves along the road on his Ratha Yatra car, at every step large assemblies of Brahmanas loudly chant prayers and sing songs for his pleasure. Hearing their hymns, Lord Jagannath becomes very favorably disposed toward them. He is the ocean of mercy and the true friend of all the world. May that Jagannath Swami, along with his consort Lakshmi, who was born from the ocean of nectar, be the object of my vision. Lord Jagannath, whose eyes resemble full-blown lotus petals, is the ornament on Lord Brahma's head. He resides on Nilachala hill with his lotus feet placed on the heads of Ananta Deva. Overwhelmed by the mellows of love, he joyfully embraces Srimati Radharani's body, which is like a cool pond. May that Jagannath Swami be the object of my vision. I do not pray for a kingdom, nor do I pray for gold, rubies, or wealth. I do not ask for a beautiful wife that's desired by all men. I simply pray that Jagannath Swami, whose glories Lord Shiva always sings, may be the constant object of my vision. O Lord of the demigods, please quickly remove this useless material existence I am from. O Lord of the Yadus, please destroy this vast, shoreless ocean of sins. Alas, this is certain. Lord Jagannath bestows his lotus feet upon those who feel themselves fallen and have no shelter in this world. May that Jagannath Swami be the object of my vision. The self-restrained, virtuous soul who recites these 8 verses glorifying Lord Jagannath becomes cleansed of all sin and duly proceeds to Lord Vishnu's abode. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, thank you, Kishori Radha Mataji. Yes, so we are all qualifying ourselves to proceed to Lord Vishnu's abode by reading this wonderful prayer, Shri Jagannath Ashtakam. Yes, so like I said, today is our festival day of Jagannath Rath Yatra, and it is nice to, in this prayer, when we say, we are praying to the Lord that, may you be the object of my vision. May the Lord and his companions be the object of our vision. But the Lord is also so merciful that he is going to give darshan to everybody, even those who don't come to his temple, right? So that is the mercy. People say that why is the Lord not merciful to me? Well, who can be more merciful? You don't want to go and see him in the temple, but he will come out on this day, and not just one day. Right now, we have Jagannath Rath Yatra pretty much everywhere in the world, thanks to Srila Prabhupada, who started this wonderful process of getting the Lord out onto the streets, and everybody in the world is now being benefited by the Lord's mercy. So again, devotee is more merciful than the Lord. So he brings the Lord out. So yesterday we saw in Prabhupada Lilamrit that Srila Prabhupada has installed the Panchatattva deities in Hawaii. So again, the devotees come. So yesterday is Jagannath Rath Yatra. So immediately yesterday Prabhupada installed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu. All of them have come. The Panchatattva have come. Right. So they came first yesterday to inaugurate the movement, and now today Jagannath is coming out. So that is the mercy of the devotees, pure devotee of the Lord. When he does, or he or she, when they do something, the Lord reciprocates immediately. So that is the mood that we should have, that we should always try to sincerely follow in the footsteps of our predecessor acharyas. So Prabhupada was yesterday, we saw a lot of nice things. Prabhupada moved from Japan to Hawaii, and then in Hawaii also he did a few days of program. But again, we see the same trend. Like he's not being attached. He's not getting stuck at one place. Like he's preaching, right? He's walking the talk. He's telling his sannyasis that you have to go out and preach, travel. So Prabhupada is showing by his own example. If he wanted, he was a 76-year-old man at this point in time, he would have said, well, yeah, this beach is very nice in Juhu or in Hawaii. And he said, I would just retire here. But no, his mood and his purpose was to spread the Krishna consciousness movement as much and as far and wide as possible because of the instruction of his Guru Maharaj. So he was literally, even at that age, he was traveling, preaching, and showing by his own examples what it means to practice the process of bhakti. So from Hawaii, he came back over to US, LA, and in LA again he gave initiation, and he had many of his GBCs take up sannyas. And we saw some small things. Everything, like Prabhupada says, can be utilized in Krishna's service. He used the computer, the telex machine, and yesterday, like Prabhupada was like watching the computer, but as soon as they mentioned that, as soon as they typed Rupa Goswami and everything came up, Prabhupada's eyes lit up, right? So I said, yes, everything can be used in Krishna's service. So yesterday at my work, my boss, she shared one picture which she had taken like many years ago, 20 years ago or something like that. And she is leaving the organization, so she was sharing. And then as soon as that picture reminded me of the same thing that we read yesterday, like everybody sitting around Prabhupada and everybody's in the telex machine and the computer. And Prabhupada said everything can be used in Krishna service. So like that. So they were all like with an astonishing face. They were looking at the computer as if something had happened. So like that, everything can be used in Krishna's service. And Prabhupada also emphasized about book distribution as one of the top forms of preaching. And he emphasized that we as devotees should read and study his books. Only then we can go out and preach nicely. So, all right, so we'll continue from here. He's now moving from LA, 1972. So we'll see where Prabhupada goes next. So on the 1st of June, Srila Prabhupada left Los Angeles for Mexico City. He said he would return in a few weeks. Prabhupada conducted an intensive 3-day lecture campaign in Mexico City, speaking at the National University of Mexico, the Masonic Lodge, and the Theosophical Society, and appearing on a television show with some 30 million viewers. He also held initiations at the temple on 2 consecutive days. Mexico was similar to India, he said, with pious people and a tropical climate. Even when he walked early in the morning in Chapultepec Park, many people followed him back to the temple. They recognized him as a saint and wanted his benediction. Chit Sukhananda. On Sunday afternoon, there were more than 500 people in the temple room. After the lecture, Srila Prabhupada went back to his room alone, and there was a big kirtan with 500 to 600 people chanting, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. They became very ecstatic, and it seemed like the temple walls were going to come down. I was in Srila Prabhupada's room, and he said, what is this? Kirtan? They are making so much noise. I said, they are chanting your name. And I went down to see what was going on, and all the people were waiting to come into Prabhupada's room. It was like they wanted to charge up to Prabhupada's room to be able to see him. They kept yelling his name, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. So I came up to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, they want to see you. And Srila Prabhupada said, well, let them come. So I immediately arranged that people could come in. He had two doors in his room, and they were coming in through one door on the left side and leaving through the other door on the right. One by one in a line, they just filtered through like a great parade, coming and offering different words to Srila Prabhupada. Most of the people were saying in Spanish, "Your Divine Grace, Your Holiness, please bless me, give me your benediction." Everyone was praying for his benediction, and as the people would come in, they would go down. Everyone was extremely submissive, and there were many people with tears in their eyes to see the great saint Srila Prabhupada. And they said to Srila Prabhupada, "Please give me your blessings." Prabhupada asked me, "What are they saying?" And I said, "Give me one blessing, one benediction." So he had his hand in his bead bag, and with his finger outside his bead bag, he would point to them and say, "Hare Krishna," and they were all very happy. Prabhupada also traveled to Cuernavaca, where he lectured out of doors at the city plaza before a crowd of thousands. The audience sat patiently and heard his words translated into Spanish. Chit Sukhananda. Just then, when he had turned out our first book, La Conciencia de Krishna es el sistema más elevado de yoga. Krishna consciousness, the topmost yoga system. And Srila Prabhupada, during his lecture at the plaza at Cuernavaca, saw Haya Das arrive with newly printed copies of his red book. Oh, this Spanish word. Mataji, maybe you may know, or Lalita Prasad will read this better. La conciencia de Krishna es el sistema más elevado de yoga. Krishna consciousness, the topmost yoga system. Srila Prabhupada looked at him and was very happy to see his book printed. He stopped his lecture and said, "Now you can all take one of these books and read them." And the people actually came up to Srila Prabhupada to get the books. We only brought about 50 copies, but all 50 copies Srila Prabhupada sold personally. The people took the liberty to ask Srila Prabhupada for an autographed book, and he autographed almost all 50 copies. After the plaza lecture, there was a hotel lecture, and then Srila Prabhupada was supposed to go to a devotee's home in Cuernavaca to take prasadam and rest. But Srila Prabhupada decided he wanted to return to the temple in Mexico City. He got back around 8 p.m. So from 8 in the morning until 8 that night, he had not taken a bite of food, only a little water. We offered him fruit and things, but he didn't want anything. When he returned to his room, his eyes were shining and his smile was broad, and he said, "This is the way to be happy. Work all day for Krishna." All he wanted was a cup of hot milk with puris and a cup of sugar. He pressed the puris into the sugar, and then he drank the milk with great joy and happiness. He said, "This is our life, to serve Krishna. Work all day for Krishna and take a little prasadam at night." On returning to Los Angeles, Prabhupada was again the center of the burgeoning Krishna conscious activities there. But again his thoughts turned to Bombay, and he telegrammed Giriraj Maharaj, instructing him to settle the conveyance immediately. Giriraj, after receiving Prabhupada's cable, went to Mr. N only to learn of a further complication. After Prabhupada had signed the sales agreement, the Indian government had passed a law obliging Mr. N to pay a 5 lakh gains tax upon executing the conveyance. Mr. N didn't have 5 lakhs at present and told Giriraj that ISKCON should pay it, and he would apply it toward the mortgage. But Bombay ISKCON didn't have 5 lakh either. So Mr. N suggested Giriraj take a bank loan or secure funds from ISKCON temples in the US. He promised that in the meantime he would not sell the land to anyone else. Giriraj tried to get a loan from the bank, but he had no security or credit. He turned to some of the life members for help to see if they could act as guarantors for a loan. But although sympathetic, they could not help him raise the money. Giriraj also began to doubt Mr. N's word. Although naive about legal matters, Giriraj was becoming suspicious of Mr. N's character and of his dealings. Talking with life members, Giriraj learned that actually Mr. N was notorious for illegal business tactics. When previously Mr. N had signed an agreement with the C Company for the very same land he was now selling to Prabhupada, the sales agreement had eventually been cancelled because C Company had not gotten permission from the municipality for subdividing plots of land. And one of the conditions of Mr. N's sale of the land had been that C Company get government permission to use the land. According to some of the businessmen with whom Giriraj spoke, Mr. N, through his political connections, had influenced the government against the C Company. Mr. N had seemed very helpful, giving the devotees a good price for the land, and even providing workers for clearing it. And Mrs. N had often attended Prabhupada's classes, but there also seemed to be many contradictions in Mr. N's behavior. Hearing of these problems by mail, Prabhupada considered them manageable. If a government tax had been imposed, then the devotee should deal with that and also continue trying for a loan. Certainly, Mr. N was tricky, but Prabhupada felt ISKCON's position was strong. Giriraj should persist without becoming confused by Mr. N. Prabhupada advised Giriraj to approach Mrs. Sumati Morarji and other supporters for financial help. It is a unique temple in the world. And if you show how your wonderful abilities, how if you show your wonderful abilities as American and European boys and girls to manage everything superbly, she will not hesitate to entrust you in every way. Therefore, there must always be goodwill and cooperation amongst yourselves for this huge task ahead. I always think of our Juhu place, and I want that it shall be the model for all the world to emulate and respect as the perfect example of a Krishna conscious community. Portland, Oregon, June 8, 1972. From Los Angeles, Prabhupada went briefly to Portland, where 50 of his disciples from San Francisco, Seattle, and Vancouver, as well as Portland, had congregated to meet him. From Portland, he rode by car to Eugene, where he lectured at a large hall before an audience of mostly hippies. Every temple in the US wanted Srila Prabhupada, and although Prabhupada could not visit them all, he remained open to brief visits and public lectures in faraway places. He would sometimes confide to his traveling secretary that his disciples should do this preaching. But then another lecture opportunity would arise, promoted by an enthusiastic group of devotees, and Prabhupada would surprise everyone by agreeing to go. After returning to Los Angeles for 4 days, Prabhupada then flew to New York for a week and then on to London for 2 weeks. In London, George Harrison and Ravi Shankar visited him several times at the Bury Place temple. When George asked if he should shave his head and try to live like the other devotees, Prabhupada replied that he should continue to be a singer. If you tell people to chant Hare Krishna, Prabhupada reminded George, they will do it. July 20th. From England, Prabhupada went to Paris, where he lectured and performed an outdoor initiation ceremony at the Luxembourg Gardens. Hundreds of people, most of them student radicals from the nearby university, gathered to watch. Srila Prabhupada began his talk saying, "You French people have a history of being revolutionary because you are looking for a better way of life." When the words were translated into French, the students cheered and applauded. Srila Prabhupada continued, "Therefore, you should inquire into this Krishna consciousness. It is a revolutionary movement for reviving our original God consciousness." About 30 devotees from Germany had come to Paris, and most of them, along with many devotees from England, Amsterdam, and Paris, received initiation that day at Luxembourg Gardens. In Paris, Prabhupada also attended a successful 4-day indoor festival where he was pleased to lecture and lead kirtanas each night. July 26th. In Amsterdam, Prabhupada installed deities of Lord Jagannath, Ki Jai, Lord Jagannath, Lord Balram, and Subhadra, and lectured at Wandel Park before thousands of hippies. One day, at Wandel Park, a devotee was addressing the crowd when Prabhupada suddenly told his disciples to stop. "These people are useless," he said. "Just hold kirtan." Later, he wrote to a disciple in the West. "We are observing here in Europe, many hippies have become so disgusted with material life, but they are also now so much degraded that they will not hear our philosophy, simply mocking. So our devotees may become very much learned to remove their doubts and become very much fixed up in Krishna consciousness. But so far, preaching to the general public, especially the hippie class, it is better not to preach very much philosophy. Just somehow or other get them to chant Hare Krishna mantra. And if some of them are curious to learn something, they may purchase one of our books. Only if they chant with us, that will help them." July 29. At Edinburgh, Prabhupada was greeted by almost a dozen reporters from various newspapers in Scotland. Kishora. Edinburgh is a stuffy, puffed-up, tradition-steeped place, but Prabhupada was very cordial and humble with the reporters. He was giving them so much credit about how nice the country was and how nice Edinburgh was, what nice buildings we have here. And he was saying, "You have 2 colleges here?" Yes, we have 2. Very proud they were. "So you have many students here?" Yes, it's a very affluent city, Edinburgh." "Yes, oh yes, very rich and opulent." And then Prabhupada said, "So you have so many students, and you have so many nice big buildings. You have so much facility for enjoyment." And they were agreeing, Yes, we have all this." And Prabhupada just looked at them straight and said, "Then why are your universities producing hippies?" They looked at one another and no one could answer. And Prabhupada began to explain how society cannot bring happiness or contentment simply with buildings. "Stones and windows," he said. "Where is the happiness there?" In Glasgow, Prabhupada lectured at Woodside Hall before an audience of almost 1,000. Kishore. Prabhupada was sitting on stage on his Vyasasan. The crowd was very large and even the balcony was overflowing. When Prabhupada arrived, the students greeted him like a pop star. They were cheering and whistling. Prabhupada immediately began lecturing very heavily on the basic science of Bhagavad Gita, how Arjuna became a successful devotee by killing all his friends and relatives. At the end of the lecture, I was a little apprehensive as to whether the people would accept that heavy lecture or not, but they cheered and applauded. When it came to question and answer time, one man came all the way down the aisle from the back of the hall and stood at the foot of the stage and looked up at Prabhupada. For several moments he spoke on and on and on, talking very proudly. I am this, I am that, and then concluding, I am God. That was the conclusion of his little monologue. The whole crowd was hushed, and I thought, what's going to happen now? Prabhupada simply looked down and let the silence continue for a few moments more. Then Prabhupada spoke. So, you are God. You have nothing more to say? You are not God, you are dog. And immediately the crowd stood up and applauded and cheered. The man just looked at Prabhupada and a smile came on his face. With just those few words, he had been defeated. He simply walked all the way back again to the back of the hall and was finished. It was ecstatic because the crowd was participating in the whole thing. They all realized that God is not cheap. Then we had Kirtan and everyone in the audience was dancing. At that time, they had gotten a bit lax at the door, and the local street urchins from this low class area of Glasgow came into the hall, and they all began dancing and singing. Some of them tried to get up on the stage. Prabhupada was also chanting, and so these kids were all trying to get around him and get on the stage to chant. The devotees started to push these dirty little children off the stage, but Prabhupada said, "Don't do that. These children are all devotees. Let them chant." When Prabhupada finally got up to leave again, he reminded me of some big celebrity. He was smiling and waving and walking off the stage, and the audience were all shouting, "No, no, no." They began chanting, "More, more, more." Ye dil mange more. August 1st. When Prabhupada returned to London and heard that Sumati Moraji was arriving there, he went with a group of his disciples to meet her at the airport. He talked with her about his plans for Hare Krishna land at Juhu and of his desire to form a board of trustees consisting of ISKCON's Bombay life members. Sumati Moraji agreed to be the president of the board, which would meet regularly and give advice for managing ISKCON's Bombay project. Each trustee would also contribute a large sum of money toward developing a particular area of the project. Prabhupada asked Mrs. Moraji to donate for the temple. He would request Mr. Khandelwal to donate for the library and Mr. N for the two other wings. That Mr. N had not yet produced the deed, however, continued to weigh heavily on Prabhupada's mind, and he questioned Mr. N's intentions and Giriraj's competence. If the only obstacle was the 5 lakh tax, then Prabhupada had already instructed Giriraj to approach his wealthy friends and secure a loan. What was the difficulty? But Giriraj's communication sounded as if such a solution was impossible. On August 27th, Prabhupada telegrammed Giriraj, "Has conveyance deed been signed? If not, finish immediately and wire details." Again, Giriraj went to Mr. N, although anticipating Mr. N's reply. This time, however, Mr. N added yet another complication, reminding Giriraj that ISKCON had not yet obtained permission from the Charity Commissioner. ISKCON was a public charitable trust and so required permission from the Charity Commissioner before acquiring property. Mr. N put the burden back onto ISKCON. Okay, we'll pause here for today. Thank you so much. Yes, so again we see the speed of Prabhupada, the speed of a sadhu, pure devotee, how he's going from one city to another city, one country to another country, and in every town and village, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu predicted, their holy names will be chanted loudly, and Prabhupada is as the instrument who is making that happen. And yeah, it was nice to see. So we are going to celebrate Jagannath Rath Yatra, and Prabhupada has now installed Jagannath, Balram, and Subhadra today. So like I said yesterday, the Panchatattva came. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the topmost devotee of Jagannath, Balram, and Subhadra Mai in Jagannath Puri. So his deities were installed. They were installed yesterday, and today Prabhupada installed Jagannath Ji, just because Cincinnati is celebrating Jagannath Rath Yatra today. So that's wonderful. And yeah, there are always ups and downs, but again, that is like Prabhupada always used to say, when we become devotees and we are trying to work for Krishna, then again the role of Maya Devi is to oppose. So Maya Devi in this world, that is her service. So that's like a fight against Maya. And when we try to spread Krishna consciousness, Maya Devi will test us, and she will try to bring all the different hurdles and bottlenecks, right? But that is where our sadhana, our patience, our tolerance, our persistence is all tested. And again, Prabhupada is showing again and again and again how he is continuing to march forward despite all the problems. And these are things that his disciples learned and carried with them as they moved on for the last 50 years. That is how the movement has grown. More Prabhupada established over 100 temples. Now we have more than 1,000 over the world. That is because of the same intensity and same persistence that his disciples, who are our current Guru Varga, they have continued to march forward with. So yeah, like that, many nice examples. And yeah, it's just the enthusiasm that matters, and sincerity. With enthusiasm, sincerity, then we will be able to move forward and continue what Prabhupada has given us. Okay, so we're looking forward to the Jagannath Yatra today. We'll pause here. Any other thoughts, reflections? Want to share anything, Ritesh Prabhu, Devika Mataji? Good to have your association today.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for reading with full enthusiasm. It took us to the journey where we can also have the same enthusiasm by the blessing of Lord Jagannath. Prabhuji, I have some question. I've been reading about the Jagannath Yatra. My parents are gonna be with me, and my mom cannot walk that much. What could be the best route so that they can attend and they can also come back to the ISKCON temple? Do you have any ideas about that, to Prabhuji?
Yeah.
I'm looking
So
at I looked at the parking chart, and also the kids will be also there, but again it will be any
are they
idea.
are they able to walk few steps at least?
Yes. Do
And
you want to walk few steps? Do you want to walk
yes.
at least some of it?
Yeah. So from the parade location where we're going to start, from there, which is the Mason Aquatic Center. So maybe, up to the Mason Community Center or up to the Mason Montgomery Road. And then maybe you can
I will
take
figure it out. So that
yeah, you
is
have to
starting
drive
point will be
you
the
will have to
best
drive
thing.
the car. Yeah, that's the starting point. So at least at the starting point they can be there, because we'll have Aarti there, we'll have Kirtan there, and then when we start the Rath Yatra for a few steps, maybe a few 100 feet or something like that,
Yeah,
you can
that
walk,
sounds good.
they can walk. And then from the parking lot itself you can take your car back, and you can take them to our concluding place, right? So we have the Grace Chapel Church, that is where we'll conclude. So you can drive your car there, and you can wait there for them. And then when we reach there again, we'll have Aarti there, and we'll have Kirtan. And then our tent is only, I think, few hundreds of feet away from where we'll end, or maybe a couple of blocks away. So there is where we'll have our resting place for the deities, and we'll have our tents and prasadam, everything there near the Mason Public Library. So you can do like that, Prabhu.
And Prabhuji, like in the evening, like how long does it go? It says the parade is till
Parade is
so
only for an hour from 3 o'clock sharp, like we'll start, but we will all be there, like in the morning now itself. A lot of devotees will be there to set up the Rath, decorations, and all of that. So I would encourage you can come by 2:30, 2:15, 2:30, when we'll have like Aarti before the Rath of the deities. We'll have Kirtan, and then at 3 o'clock sharp, we will start the parade. And 3 to 4, the parade will be, and that will end at 4 o'clock at the Grace Chapel Church. And there we will have again Aarti and Kirtan, and then we will bring the deities to the tent. So around 4:15, 4:30, the deities will be in the tent in Mason, right in front of Mason Public Library. And then there will be like festivities going on. We will have Kirtan, Prashadam, book distribution, all of that, henna for kids and adults. And so that is up to us how long we want to stay, So, but it will go on all the way up to 10 o'clock.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
No problem. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Devika Mataji, anything from you?
Prabhuji, I wanted to ask where I can find the details of the Rath Yatra today. I'm sorry. I don't
Yeah.
I don't have anything on the calendar.
We have posted on the WhatsApp group, Mataji. I think you are there in the WhatsApp group, right? The ISKCON Cincinnati WhatsApp group.
Yes, I'm in that chat.
Yeah, so there, if you go to the announcements, you will see the details, all the details about where it starts, where it ends. But to answer your question, I mean, you can come to Mason Aquatic Center if you're familiar with that, near the Mason Community Center. There's a Mason Aquatic Center. So you come to the Corwin Nixon Park Road, drive all the way up to the Corwin Nixon Park parking, and then drive further. You'll be able to go to Mason Aquatic Center parking. So all of that detail is there in the announcements channel on the flyer. But that is where we will start, from Mason Aquatic Center parking lot, and it will go through the Foxfield Drive onto Mason Montgomery Road, north towards the Mason downtown, and then it will take a left at the Reading Road, and it will end there at the Grace Chapel Church on Reading. So that is the route. It will be from 3 to 4 p.m., 1 hour of Rath Yatra. And then we will bring the deities to a tent outside the Mason Public Library. So the deities will be there until 10, or not, deities may probably will leave with the deities around 7 or 8 after the Sandhya Aarti. But the programs will go on until 10 p.m. So yeah, please join for the Rath Yatra.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for both of your association and everybody here who was here. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavandi ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit ki jai. Shri Jagannath Rath Yatra Mahamotsav ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.